5 people. Just 5. And they help decide how Bitcoin's code changes. Who are they? Where do they live? Who picked them? And most important, if you disagree with them, does that actually matter? Last episode, we talked about the quantum threat, and it ended with the real nightmare. If Bitcoin ever needs a major upgrade, who gets to call the shot? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on Bitcoin's real center of gravity. First, a critical disclaimer. These people cannot touch a single coin in your wallet. What they control is merge access to the Bitcoin core code repository on GitHub. In plain English, they hold the key that can add code into the software most people treat as the reference client. They write rules. They do not sign transactions. Bitcoin has no company and no boss. Upgrades move through BIPs, Bitcoin improvement proposals. On paper, the process sounds wonderfully decentralized. Anyone can propose changes, the community debates them, and miners plus node operators choose whether to run the new software. If you don't update, your node keeps following the old rules. Nobody can force you. But there's a brutal real-world loophole. Almost nobody can read the code. So most users blindly install the official release package. And the people deciding what actually lands inside that official package are the maintainers. They're called Bitcoin core maintainers. The number is not fixed forever, but it usually stays tiny, around a handful of people. So how do you become one? Not through elections, not by buying your way in. The only path is years of unpaid, high-quality work, writing code, reviewing pull requests, fixing bugs, building so much technical credibility that the existing maintainers eventually hand you the key. Their authority is built almost entirely on reputation accumulated at a glacial pace. And what do they do day to day? Think of them as final editors, not kings. Developers all over the world submit code through pull requests. Then experienced reviewers examine those changes line by line, sometimes for months or years. Only after sustained scrutiny does a maintainer hit merge and push the code into a future release. That pace is painfully slow by design. SegWit, one of the most famous upgrades in Bitcoin history, took roughly 2 years of argument and refinement. In Bitcoin, one careless mistake does not just crash an app, it can destroy trust for millions of people holding real money. Now we get to the question that makes people's spine go cold. What if those maintainers are compromised? What if they are bribed, pressured, or quietly infiltrated by a state actor and a malicious backdoor slips into the code? Do not dismiss that too quickly. Yes, the code is open. But Bitcoin Core has hundreds of thousands of lines of C++. The number of people on Earth who can fully review it and reliably catch a sophisticated hidden backdoor is probably tiny. And a well-disguised exploit would not look like a typo. It could hide inside math that appears perfectly normal for years. Bitcoin has already had one brush with disaster. In 2010, a bug nearly broke the system. Someone exploited an integer overflow vulnerability to create 184 billion BTC in a single transaction. Bitcoin's cap was supposed to be 21 million. Satoshi and early developers patched it within hours, and the invalid transaction was rolled back. That was an accident. But what if the bug had been intentionally disguised by a world-class adversary? This is Bitcoin's deepest paradox. It presents itself as a system where you don't need to trust anyone. Yet in the real world, most users end up placing enormous trust in a tiny group of unpaid technical elites. You trust their competence, you trust their incentives, and you trust that they won't make a catastrophic mistake. And yes, most of them are not literally unpaid forever. Many are funded by organizations like Chaincode Labs, Brink, or Spiral. Those sponsors promise not to interfere with technical decisions. But does outside funding create subtle incentive pressure? The community worries about that constantly. So if the maintainers ever fail together, does Bitcoin have a plan B? Yes. It's the nuclear option. Fork the project and walk away. Because the code is public, the community can copy it, start a new development path, and put different people in charge. If the network splits, your coins don't vanish. You now own coins on both chains. But the cost is brutal. The community fractures. Prices can collapse. Normal users are thrown into chaos, asking which chain is the real Bitcoin. The Bitcoin Cash split in 2017 proved exactly how ugly that can get. So compare the trust models. In traditional finance, trust sits in bank buildings, regulators, and state power. Those systems fail too. Lehman Brothers proved that in 2008. In Bitcoin, trust sits in open-source transparency, adversarial review, and the ability to fork. Neither model is perfect, but they fail in radically different ways. Which one makes you feel safer? Next episode, we switch perspective. Bitcoin's problem is that changing it is almost impossible. Ethereum took the opposite path. It didn't just change, it swapped the engine in mid-flight. Was that evolution, or was it a gamble with the entire network? I'm BitDogga.